Creating an item. Learning objectives. Storerooms. Creating an item. Adding items to inventory. Storerooms. Used to store inventory items. The storeroom record contains the GL account and billing details for inventory at that location. These details can be updated as needed, and any modifications will apply to future transactions. Previous transactions will continue to reference their original GL account. Once a storeroom is created, it cannot be deleted unless all items in the storeroom are moved or deleted. Create a storeroom. 1. Go to Inventory, Storerooms. 2. Click Plus New Storeroom. 3. All items in red are required. The other GL accounts and data can be inputted if it is applicable. NACE end-of-month inventory reports. Inventory balances used in the monthly reports are recorded under previous month's inventory balance and current month's inventory balance. These can be altered if you have done a mid-month or back-end change after the monthly report is created. You can adjust them here if the report's balances are incorrect. The Use in POPR option enables receiving items from a purchasing document. If unchecked, the only way to receive items into a storeroom is to manually add them or transfer them from another storeroom. Start by navigating to the Item Master application. From the main menu, go to Inventory, then select Item Master. Click on New Item to create a new record. By default, items are auto-numbered, but you can request support if you want to change this process. You can also manually type in an item number. The following fields are recommended for every item: item number, description, attachments, and image, order unit, issue unit, capitalized, add as spare part, and tax exempt. Next, go to the Vendors tab. Here, add the vendor name, manufacturer, model number, and catalog code. This information is critical for procurement and inventory management. On the left navigation pane, select Add Items to Storeroom. In the dialog box, choose the storeroom or where the item will be available. We recommend adding items to inventory with a quantity of 0. However, the system allows you to enter a different quantity if needed. Once all details are entered, click Save. Your new item is now created and ready for use in Maximo. Item Master. All inventory starts at the Item Master application. This is where the item description and defaults are entered. The item can then be added to multiple storerooms in multiple sites. Navigate to Item Master by going to Inventory, Item Master. Creating items. Click on Plus New Item to add an item. The item is managed at the item set level. Currently, items are auto-numbered, but you can change that process as desired by requesting support from your support group. The fields identified in red are recommended for your items. The description and long description can only be updated in the Item Master application. Order unit and issue unit. The order unit and issue unit should be filled out. If they are different, you will need to enter in a conversion. 1. Click Add Modify Conversions option on the left navigation panel. You will need to click the plus sign to add a row. 2. Enter in the from unit of measure, the to unit of measure, and the item number. 3. Determine the conversion factor. For example, if you were to purchase items in a 10-pack, but issue them as each, your conversion factor would be 1/10 or 0.01. Example: commodity group and commodity code. Commodity group and commodity code can be used to classify your inventory by types: motor, valve, bearing, etc. You can add these using the Add Modify Commodity Codes option on the left navigation panel. Other item details. Attachments will go to the WO and purchasing documents. You can add an image by selecting Add Modify Image on the left navigation panel. Rotating refers to an asset that is periodically cycled into and out of production. Condition Enabled refers to receiving an item at a percentage of its original cost. This option is typically not used. Kit means that this item is a kit comprised of many other inventory items. A kit can be assembled and disassembled. Capitalized does not drive any other values. It is simply an indicator for you to use. Inspect on receipt means you are required to inspect this item after receipt through the receiving application before it can be added to inventory. Add as a spare part allows Maximo to add this item to the spare parts list of any asset it is used on. Critical spare is an indicator that this is critical. It does not drive any functionality. Tax exempt will force purchasing documents to treat these items as tax exempt. Other item tabs. Storerooms. This will populate when this item is added to inventory. You cannot manually add, modify anything here. Vendors. Vendors and manufacturers can be populated here, but they will not go over to inventory when inventory is created. Specifications. Add classifications to assist with finding inventory by putting specific attributes for each item. Item assembly structure. Used when this item is a kit. This is where you would list all the items included in the kit. Add items to storeroom. On the left navigation pane, select Add items to storeroom or Add items to multiple storerooms. On the first dialog, you will select the storerooms that will be populated. On the dialog screen, you will add your details. We always recommend adding to inventory with 0 quantity, but the system will allow you to enter in a quantity other than 0. Note: inventory houses the item quantity, cost, reorder, and vendor data. You cannot directly add any items to inventory. You have to use the item master application to do so. Cost types. Issue cost. Types. There are 4 distinct issue cost types, and it is essential to select the appropriate cost type for your operation to ensure accurate inventory reporting. Standard. This cost type issues your inventory out at a standard cost that is set by you and never changes. This is most commonly used when all inventory below a certain cost is 0 or fixed in the system. Any receipts made against this cost type will result in an immediate inventory transaction to zero out the differences between the purchase cost and the issue cost. Average. This cost type issues your inventory at an average of all the amounts you have paid over the lifetime of the part. This cost does not reset to 0 once the item is out of stock, so using average cost may result in small discrepancies between your transactions and your inventory balances. FIFO. FIFO, first in, first out, issues out inventory at the earliest cost of the inventory. Maximo tracks the units and purchase price of the inventory and will issue out based on the first or earliest cost. This cost type can cause an issue when an item is returned, as it may return at the current FIFO cost, which may be 0, and this can result in cost variances in your work orders. It is important to ensure employees are verifying the return cost matches the issue cost if this cost type is being utilized. LIFO. LIFO, last in, first out, issues out inventory at the latest cost of the inventory. Maximo tracks the units and purchase price of the inventory and will issue out based on the last or latest cost. This cost type can cause an issue when an item is returned, as it may return at the current FIFO cost, which may be 0, and this can result in cost variances in your work orders. It is important to ensure employees are verifying the return cost matches the issue cost if this cost type is being utilized.